Nope.
What is it?
It's final cumulative design project, senior year, put everything together.
Yep. Alright, that's pretty much all we knew before going into it, but there's kind of a lot more that would help you guys know to have a good experience with it. So, Capstone, like you said, is a senior design project. For us, it depends on the track. For us, it spans summer one semester and a spring semester. It's a hands-on design project where you and a group of other students, in our case it's 5 students per group, come up with a design and do a full design and assemble either a prototype or a proof of concept or some way to physically show that your system works.
Yeah, so you pick an advisor, and there's 2 ways you can do like a project. You can propose your own project, or you can take one of the ones that they give you. I highly suggest trying to formulate a team. What would it be? If you're our track, it would be spring of your junior year. Try and figure out who you want to work with, and either from people from your previous co-op, if they have like a project in mind, or just start networking. Try and find something that you think you're going to be interested in, and try and go for that. Because in my experience, the projects that they have here at Northeastern for you aren't as cool as they could be. So that's what I would recommend.
So the way it works is you have a group, an advisor, and the advisor's role is just to make sure you're on track and give you any advice that you need. And then a sponsor who is providing the budget. The sponsor can be a department at the school or a company that you might have worked on, a co-op. You have a corporate sponsor. Our project is for the MIE department. We're working under a professor who's really our sponsor as well. So if you find something on co-op that you really like and maybe the company wants you to continue working on it, then I would try to talk with them about it and maybe have them become your sponsor. Any other input?
I guess the important thing is the first day you show up for Capstone 1, they're going to hand you papers and they're going to ask you who you want to be in your team. I'd say have a good idea of a group of 4 or 5. The classes are getting bigger, so they're pushing for groups of 5 people, and know who you want to work with, and make sure it's people that you can work with and you can get along with and do 6 months of a project with. And also, if you want to propose a project, they tell you that the first day of Capstone is too late. You should have had it in by then. So figure out who's running the Capstone course before you go into it. And if you have an idea for your own project, go up to them and talk to them. Like right now, it's Professor Gregory Kowalski, but that might change in the next couple of years. So if you have a project, start thinking about it, go to them, schedule an hour meeting, and start talking through your ideas.
So you should probably know by the end of your spring semester, junior year, if you want to submit a proposal. And you just write it, you did it for us, right? You just write it quick.
I did it. It's pretty much a 1-page memo if the professor knows what you're talking about and where you're coming from. It can come up with research that you've done, an interest you have, an old co-op job that you have, and something they need. So
Or any invention you might have in mind, or whatever you want to do. It's really open-ended.
Yeah, if anybody's done directed study, I don't know if anybody has, or if you know what that is, you can start now, try and find a directed study with the professor here, and then continue that for Capstone as well.
So we're really here to answer questions. So what questions do you guys have? Yeah.
Did you already do your capstone, or are you just starting it now?
We are in the middle of it now. So last summer one, we started, and it was kind of doing all the research you need to do and figuring out the plan. It depends on the project too. Some people, you can have different phases. So one semester a group will do phase 1 of a project, and then the next semester somebody might continue on. So if you're in like a later phase, you kind of have a better idea of what's going on, and you have more of a direct plan. We're the initial phase of our idea, so we had to do a lot of research and whatnot that semester.
Yeah.
And then over co-op, we don't have to work, but a lot of people still work over co-op to try to meet like the time constraints. So now we're working right now.
Yeah. So our track, we had Capstone 1, Summer 1, then we had co-op, and now we're finishing up. But the other track, so you have it for Summer 2 and then Fall. So you don't have that chunk of time with the co-op to work. So it's a little bit shorter. It's a little bit different. But going on with the phases that he was talking about, a lot of the projects that are here at Northeastern, if you weren't to go seek your own, would be the next phase of a project that was already going on. Like the bionic ankle.
Yeah.
think it's in like phase 6 or something crazy. Like,
Also, the winner from last year.
Yeah.
Last spring was the bionic
Yeah,
ankle.
it's phase 3, I think.
and I don't even know what winning means. Like, I don't even know how you win. They don't even really tell you.
I think, yeah, it's more like, it is a competition, but I mean, there's apparently small monetary reward for the winner. More of a better thing to have on your resume, I'd say, than the money you get. And there is IP potential, intellectual property.
Do you get a grade for it?
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it a big grade or like?
Pretty big grade.
It's
It
5
is,
credits
yeah.
a semester.
And for us, it's really 6 because they rolled over our spring semester. We got an incomplete for summer, excuse me, which is normally 1 credit, and then our spring semester is 5 credits. So we're getting 6 credits for this semester virtually.
Do any of the projects actually go into production? Like, is it that?
They could,
Some of them
yeah.
do, yeah, depending on what type of project you have.
Yeah. And you can work with there's a group at the university that is just a patent office.
Called technology transfer.
Right. So if you think you have IP potential, then you work with them to write out the proposal and submit it to the U.S. Patent Office.
I was just curious, have you guys sat in on any of the co-op presentations?
The capstone.
The capstone, yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I sat in on them.
Well, I was just
before.
curious, I mean, you've brought up a whole bunch of, I didn't know if you had any, like, were there any highlight presentations that were done or ideas that people have done in the past, or? I mean, I have an idea of some of the capstone projects, I just don't know whether, I mean, there's some cool things that go
We
through.
we can briefly talk about ours, but as somebody mentioned, there's a bionic ankle, which is in phase 3 right now. So it's been an evolving process to try to manufacture a bionic ankle, like a prosthesis that behaves similar or as close as possible to a real ankle. So it's a lot of controls and everything. I mean, you end up using a lot of different subjects from
Yeah.
your whole career.
I'd say try to know your electrical as best as you can. I know everybody here doesn't want to, but when it comes down to it, that's what it ends up being sometimes. The mechanical design isn't a huge chunk of it. If you can know your control systems and all that stuff, you'll be in good shape. I certainly don't.
Yeah.
In your groups, do you work with only mechanical engineers?
Yes.
Yeah.
I tried proposing a project with an electrical engineer and I got shot down, but you can propose it.
Sometimes, I remember Shafai talked about it, if you'll have like a mechanical group do a project, and then if it needs like some substantial control systems, they might move over to the electrical side
Yeah.
for them to do that side of the
So
project.
phase 1 of a project might be mechanical, phase 2.
Yeah.
Have you get to the point where you're able to design something like that, or is it just all research?
Well,
Yeah, research and
Yeah.
guidance from your advisor, guidance from your sponsor. And if you
I
have
mean-
previous co-op experience with
Right.
design, that'll help as well.
have you guys been on co-op yet? Some of you? You get a lot more hands-on experience on co-op, and you try to kind of see the process you have to go through to design something. And usually it's at a much more accelerated rate on co-op. But you also take a machine design course your junior year, which is pretty helpful in most of the mechanical design things you need to know how to do.
Also by then, you know a lot of the professors and you know if you don't know how to do something, how to go find it either in the library or online, or like even for our project, we've already gone up to a couple professors and we'll get as far as we can and we'll say, all right, I know you're the expert in the subject, what am I missing? Show me what's next. And you can work with a lot of the professors and your advisors for that.
And there's a machine shop here, so for all the parts you design, it'll be made in-house here at the machine shop.
Or depending on your budget, you could go
Yeah.
outside and have other vendors manufacture parts for you.
Could you talk a little bit about what your project is?
Sure. Megan and I are in the same group. We are designing an aftermarket regenerative braking system for, really the project is for any passenger vehicles, but we're directing it towards the taxi cab market. So something that a taxi cab company could come to us and buy our product for a much less cost than buying a new hybrid vehicle and then put on their car and increase their fuel efficiency.
Yeah, my project, excuse me, there's a company, a spin-off from MIT called Aero Motions, and their current products are like actively controlled